Heyo, I'm Christie Rocha, podcast host and content creator, and I am thrilled to welcome you to the Inner Edit. This podcast is all about us, the creators, the storytellers, visionaries, navigating the ever-changing online world. We are in this together, facing challenges unique to our craft, like burnout, setting boundaries, dealing with negativity, and that oh-so-familiar imposter syndrome. Join me as I chat with fellow creators, therapists, and coaches to explore collaborations, making connections, diving into creating conscious content, figuring out how to maximize our content output, and discovering that mindset magic that keeps us going. Whether you're a content creator seeking resources or just curious about the behind-the-scenes world of digital creators, the Inner Edit is your resource for personal and professional growth in the digital world. We're all going through the same things, so let's talk about it. Hit that subscribe button and welcome to the Inner Edit. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Inner Edit. Last episode, we talked about creative burnout, and I'm doing this little solo series on some pain points that I've heard a lot from creators and some of my experience with it, because I think just as we wrap up the end of the year, it is a good time for these reminders. Let us go into the next year as creators, feeling as confident as we can, feeling as prepared to take care of our mental health and wellness when it comes to this world of content creation as best we can. I'm here to just share with you nothing I'm sure you haven't heard before, but perhaps you just need to hear it today. And perhaps going into the new year, this is the best time to hear some of these reminders and strategies and information. So one of the things that's come up quite a bit is creative blocks. It hurts to even say those words because I can't stand them. I know you can't. It's super frustrating as a creator. Just any sort of mental barrier, especially if you're on a time crunch or you've got someone literally on the Zoom across from you. So frustrating. I have to say, I have creative blocks a lot of times when it comes to solo shows because I think I'm just not slowing down long enough to really put together what I care to say. You know, I spend a lot of time in the information gathering mode, and I've done that across the board my whole life. You've probably heard me say on the show that I have a little mantra in my office that says, launch fast, adjust later. And I have that because I would gather information for years without ever doing anything. I would perfect things for years without ever doing anything. And so when it comes to content, we know that doesn't work. Content is fast, it's in the moment, it's trending, it's visual, it's viral, it's all the things, and we gotta just keep it moving. So creative blocks, we don't have time for that. No, we don't. No, we do not have time for that. So how do we keep our mindset right, and how do we push through them? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I only know what works some of the time. So let's talk first about creative blocks. What are they? We know, really, but we're talking about instances when our inspiration seems non-existent, ideas are just refusing to flow through our brains. I would say this is a pretty natural part of being a creative person. We go in and out. But I felt this way in the past almost every time I opened the TikTok app. Jeez, did I just boomer myself? I cannot. And I mentioned that I pretty much feel this way whenever I have to do a solo show. But if you've ever found yourself staring at a blank page, staring at a blank screen, staring at your mic with nothing to say, struggling to find that spark of creativity, this is for you. So sometimes what leads to creative blocks is the fear of failing. So feeling like everything we put out there has to be well received, successful, viral, anxiety about not meeting expectations or external pressures can lead to us feeling like if we don't, we are failures. And that can definitely get in the way of your creative flow. It can be totally paralyzing and prevent us from trying something new, exploring a new app, exploring a new topic. Certainly, all of these things can lead to our creative juices drying up. I mentioned it a little bit from my own experience, but perfectionism, striving for perfection in every aspect of our content is not going to work. It's going to hinder our creative process. Pressure to create just this absolutely flawless viral video. Who knows what's going to be viral? Who knows where it's going to land? And quite honestly, we know now that most people, when they're consuming content online or however they consume it, they want genuine, authentic people having genuine, authentic, relatable experiences. So me fumbling my words before, could I edit it? Of course I could. But the reality is that I sometimes fumble my words, and you know what? That's okay. So I definitely feel this perfectionism and pressure when I'm trying to create what I think the algorithm wants. But really, what works is just being myself and letting it go. Another thing that can lead to creative blocks is when we're just burnt out and overworked. So go check out the last episode on creative burnout if you haven't yet. But exhaustion from just going, creating, never taking a break, never stepping away. We're drained. That's obviously going to get in the way of our creative flow. Sometimes we just have a lack of inspiration. And I find this when I've not changed my routine for a while, when I haven't done anything exciting, when I haven't gone out to dinner or taken the kids somewhere new and fun. Limiting our experience and our everyday to what it was the day before isn't a great breeding ground for inspiration. In October and early November, I traveled quite a bit. Actually, from September to November, I traveled. I was on a plane 3 times in those just month and a half, 2 months, which is more times than I've been on a plane in a year, 2 years. And anytime I went on those experiences, it was like I couldn't create enough content. I was so excited. And I'm not saying you have to get on a plane, but what I'm saying is that I've noticed when I am just doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the same as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before it, and the same as the one before it, and the same as the one before it, I'm not very creative and nothing feels exciting. So changing it up in any way, even if it's just you go to a 9 a.m. yoga class and today you go to a 2 p.m. and maybe you see someone new, just switching up the routine can be really helpful. Another reason sometimes I feel creatively blocked is if I'm having some imposter syndrome, when I'm doubting myself, when I'm feeling inadequate on my abilities to create interesting and fun content. Sometimes I worry I'm just like so darn cringy on this podcast and on TikTok that like the Gen Zers are going to come after me and or people I know are going to silently just be judging me. And I would say I'm okay with that, but sometimes it does get to me. Sometimes it does bother me. Sometimes it is my body image that gets to me, and then I'm doubting myself that I'm funny or interesting or talented because I don't look a certain way, and that definitely gets in the way of feeling creative. The other thing that can really get in our way is just, as I've talked about before, is the expectation and the demand for creating all the time. So never stopping. The machine. We're not meant to be creative all the time. We're just not. And so we need to recognize that we're just never going to keep up with the apps. We're not. And I think the faster we accept that, the more creative we will be. So how do we deal with all of this? Those are all the things that can lead to it. How do we deal with it? So one of the things I do is, like I said, I change my environment. I maybe I know it's silly, but a lot of times I create content in this office that I'm sitting in, and sometimes I will. I'll go sit in my car. I'll go take a lap around my house. I'll walk through the neighborhood. I will just change rooms. I will just use a different cup today. So changing my environment gives me a new perspective, sometimes a new level of energy. Taking breaks. I know it's annoying. I don't like it either, but we do have to take breaks. And I mentioned in the last episode that if we take intentional breaks, knowing when we're going to come back and what we're going to do, and we have that planned out, we can actually enjoy the breaks better. I'm going to suggest this, even though I don't do it very often, but mindfulness, meditation. Meditation is apparently the cure-all for everything in life. So if you already have a meditation practice, but maybe you've gotten away from it during this time, get back in it. If you're like me and it's on and off your to-do list every 6 months, let's get into it. The thing is, though, even as I'm saying it, though, it doesn't have to be this 30-day, every day, 30 minutes meditation thing. I think mindfulness can be doable. Even just as I say, take a break, but take it intentionally and plan how you're going to come back. That's mindfulness, right? Or just when you're taking your break in your environment change and you're washing your hands, just notice the soap. Notice something around you. Be mindful of your environment. Let your mind wander a little bit, and you never know what might inspire you. Brainstorming, free writing. I've done some of these before where I've just Googled, prompts for journaling, prompts for content, and it's nothing revolutionary, and it's nothing that's ever given me the greatest idea ever. But once I start writing or typing, usually something comes up, some idea comes up, something I write or type reminds me of a trend or reminds me of another video I've done in the past, and I go, okay, yeah, that's fun. That was funny. I can tweak it this way or that way. I also think using AI can be really helpful. You can plug into ChatGPT or whatever platform you use with AI and ask for suggestions on social media posts or podcast topics. And again, I rarely take them verbatim, but they get my wheels spinning and they get me thinking in a new direction or thinking about something in a way that I hadn't before. I would say setting small goals, deadlines has really helped me as well. And I've actually gotten help with this. So I don't know that I've shared before, but I follow Kira Jones and I've taken her course. She's a TikTok coach, and she also has a weekly program where she'll every week send you an email with the trending sounds and videos on TikTok. And she's going to send that to me every Tuesday. And so I've what do they call it? Habit stacking. These small goals or deadlines for me is that I know that's going to come on Tuesday. Every Wednesday morning, I have time scheduled to look at that email, plug in my ideas, and, my intention, my goal is to create 3 of them by the end of the day and another 3 on Thursday. And it doesn't always happen exactly that way, but it is something I can depend on, and I have come to utilize that as a way to set that small goal for myself, and I've gotten more content out of it. Another thing that I would do is, collaborate. Seek help, seek support. I said in the last episode about burnout, sometimes just talking about it, sometimes just talking about how creatively blocked you feel with another person who understands, they're going to have a great idea about how they got out of it, or they're going to have a great suggestion for something you could do to reframe your mindset or a content idea, or maybe you actually literally collaborate on an app or on a podcast episode, do an interview, do an Instagram live, do something together where you can bounce off of each other and get really great ideas. And I think most importantly, what I would do is it's a mindset thing. So we have to reframe it. Yes, we're creatively blocked. Yes, it's annoying, but we have to know that this is part of the natural process. And I think if we allow ourselves to really sit in that, this is part of the process of being a creative. We know it's not going to last forever. We're going to come out of it. About once a week, I'm convinced I'm shutting this all down. I'm done with podcasting. I'm done with social media because I either get burnt out or frustrated or tired. You know, these are all things that I'm practicing. But I also know that I'm going to have a great interview, or I'm going to see a great reel, or I'm going to post a TikTok and somebody's going to see it and I'm going to feel completely differently. And so it is natural and part of the process. And I think if we reframe it that way and think of it that way, it can help us get through it. So I have fallen victim to the creative block many a time, but certainly a lot of these tactics have helped me get through it. I think truly one of the things I'd really love for myself and I'd love for this community is to really lean into the collaboration and the support and the feedback and the validation of others. So I'd really love to hear your experience with creative blocks and the strategies that have worked for you. I'd love for you to email me, DM me, comment on my social media, whatever it is. Let's support each other in conquering these mental barriers and struggles that I know we all face, and help each other out because we're all going through the same things. So let's talk about it. All right. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Inc. To learn more about me, my world, all the things going on, head over to ChristieRocha.com. Bye.